भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। आराध्य भगवान् व्रजेष्वतनयस्तद्धाम वृन्दावनम्। रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधू वर्गेण वाकल्पिता। श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमापुमार्तो महान्। श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्रादानान्तरः आनन्दलीलामयविग्रहाय हेमाङ्गदिव्याच्छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेमरसप्रदाय श्रीचैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते। Hare Krishna. So we will continue our discussion from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 20, where Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sanatana Goswami Pad about Lord Krishna, his expansions, and how these expansions they manifest themselves or incarnate or descend to this material world for different purposes. As in our last session, we have discussed about the different incarnations of the Lord. Now, Mahaprabhu is going to explain Sanatana Goswami Pad about how this whole creation takes place from Lord's different incarnations, and how he himself in different forms descend to this material world for a different purpose. So starting from text number 247, chapter 20, Madhya Leela. So here, Mahaprabhu is explaining to Sanatana Goswami Pad that Lord, when he comes and he performs his pastimes, he performs pastimes in his two typical forms. One is Pauganda and one is Balya. So he says, Balya Pauganda Haya Vigraha Dharma Etarupe Leela Karen Vrajendra Nanda. Childhood and boyhood are the typical ages of the deity. Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, performed his pastimes as a child and as a boy. Then further he says, Ananta Avatara Krishnera Nahika Ganan Shakha Chandra Nyayakari Dig Darshan. So here he is giving nice example to explain the different forms of the Lord. He says that there are innumerable incarnations of the Lord. Ananta Avatara Krishnir Nahika Ganan. Ganan means you can't count. Ganan means count. And he said, Nahira Ganan, there is no count for his incarnation. It's like moon and the branches of the trees. And the Purport Prabhupada explains about that. He says, although moon appears to be located in the branches of a tree, it is actually situated very far away. Similarly, none of the avatars or incarnations of the Lord Krishna are within the material world, but they are visible by the causeless mercy of the Lord. We should not consider them to belong to this material world. And as stated by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 9.11, Avajananti Mamurham Anushim Tanamashrintaha Paramam Bhava Ajananto Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Avatars descend of their own free will, and although they may act like ordinary human beings, they do not belong to the material world. Lord Krishna and his avatars can be understood only by the grace of Lord. It's not by our own capacity that we can understand their Lordship or any of his incarnation. Because as last time we discussed that we are full of faults. And that's why when we try to see something, the first thing comes for us is some mistake or some fault in that particular thing. So with this faulty vision, we can see the Lord who is adosha, who is without any faults. And that's why it's not possible for us to see the Lord and his incarnation directly, unless and until if he wants to reveal it. Because he says, Avajananti Mamuda, the fools, they can't understand. For example, like Duryodhana. My Lord, one of his son got married to Duryodhana's daughter. So they were like in close relationship. But still Duryodhana, he never accepted Lord as a Lord. So that's what Avajananti Mamuda. The fools, they can't understand the Lord. Unless and until Lord reveals it to them. And as explained in the Kathopanishad, how one can understand this Parabrahman or their Lordship. It says that Nayam Atma Pravachena Labhyo na mithya na bahuna shrutena. Yam ye aishva brunano te tan labhyas tasyaiva atmaha vibrunate tanum swam. It clearly says that you can understand him by just hearing, by explaining, or by giving discourse on him. Unless and until if he wants to reveal himself, you can understand the Lordship. Swam. That means he. If he desires that he wants to reveal you, then otherwise it's very difficult. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, don't try to see Lord, but serve in a such a way that he comes to see you. Does it make sense? Because of our faulty vision, we can't see him. But if we try to serve him so nicely by following the instructions of our spiritual master and according to the Vedic injunction, then Lord, he himself reveals to that person. And when you get into deity worship, you try to get such a wonderful experiences. How Lord, he reveals his presence in that particular form. How he reciprocates with you with a particular things. Like sometimes something happens due to your mistake. You won't realize it, but sometimes the in conscience you feel that there is some problem. I think I have done some mistake somewhere, and you really try to work on, and that gets revealed. Oh, here it is. So like that, Lord, he reciprocates with you. Then further, Prabhupada quotes from 10th canto, 14th chapter, prayers offered by Lord Brahma, where he says, Athapi te deva padambhujatvaya prasada leshanugraha evahi. Janati tatvam bhagavam mahimna na chanya eko apichiram vichinnam. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of the Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue studying the Vedas for many years. And that's why the Jnani Yogis, after going through all the Vedic literature, they come to a conclusion, naiti, naiti, naiti. It's not that, it's not that. Because until Lord reveals himself, no one can understand. And that's why Lord He Himself, Lord Chaitanya, is explaining about incarnations. Otherwise, who will tell you all the details about the incarnations of the Lord? Only He can. And then He says, Avataro hi asankhyanam harer sattva nidher dvijaha yatha advisham kulyaha sahasha syuhu sahasrashaha. O learned Brahmanas, actually he's quoting from first canto, third chapter, where the incarnations are explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, text number 26. O learned Brahmanas, just as the hundreds and thousands of small rivers issue from a great reservoirs of water, innumerable incarnations flow from Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, and the reservoir of all power. Then, after explaining that, it's like a fountain, and Lord is called as a fountain head. You don't know in the fountain how many droplets of water are there. Can you count them? Innumerable. Yeah. But source is known. At one particular place, the fountain starts. So the fountain head is Krishna. And then now Lord Chaitanya is explaining which is the first one that comes to this world, which is the first form that Lord incarnates. Then he says, Prathameyi kare Krishna Purushavatara Seita Purushahaya Trivida Prakara. The first incarnation of the Lord is Purushavatara. And there are three kinds of. And then Mahaprabhu quotes it from Vishnu Puran. There is one nice shloka from Vishnu Puran which explains about the Purushavataras. Vishnustu treni rupani Purushakyan ato viduhu ekam tu mahat srashtara dvitiyam tu anda samstita tritiyam sarva bhutastam tani jnatva vimuchyeta. So this verse of Vishnu Puran, it explains that person gets liberated who knows about the three different forms of Lord Vishnu. So which are, the first one he says that Mahat Srashtra, the first one who is the greatest creator from whom everything manifests, from the Mahavishnu. Because everything comes out of the Mahavishnu's pores. And the second one is Dvitiyam tu Anda Samstitam. The Dvitiya means the second one, which is Anda Samstita, means who resides in one particular Brahmanda. That is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He enters in one particular Brahmanda. And then third one he says, Tritiyam Sarva Bhutastham. And the third one is who reside in everyone's heart. That is Sharadakshaya Vishnu. And who knows about these three, Vimuchyeta. He gets liberated. And then further, Mahaprabhu says, Ananta Shakti Madhe Krishnera Tina Shakti Pradhan, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti Nam. Ananta, there are innumerable potencies of the Lord. But amongst them, there are three which are most important. So one is Ichha Shakti, the willpower. Second is Jnana Shakti. Jnana Shakti, that is knowledge, power of knowledge. And third one is Kriya Shakti, the creative potency of the Lord. Then what is Ichha Shakti? Who is predominating that? Then Mahaprabhu explains about that in the next verse. Ichha Shakti Pradhana Krishna Ichha Sarva Karta Jnana Shakti Pradhana Vasudeva Adhishtata. The predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna himself. And the predominator of knowledge, that which is expressed to Vasudeva. And the Kriya Shakti, in the next verse he says, Ichha Shakti Kriya Vina Na Hayas Rajan Tinera Teen Shakti Mili Prapancha Rachan. The whole prapancha means this whole creation, is done by these three potencies. Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. So Kriya Shakti Pradhana Sankarshana Balaram Prakrita Aprakrita Srishti Karena Nirma. So this Kriya Shakti is predominated by Sankarshan Balaram, the first expansion of the Lord from whom the whole creation takes place. So from him comes Prakrit and Aprakrit, this material and spiritual. So what comes under in spiritual world? Spiritual creation. So Mahaprabhu says here, Ahankarer Adhisthata Krishner Ichhai Goloka Vaikuntha Sruje Chit Shakti Dwara. That original Sankarshan, Lord Balaram, is the cause of both material and spiritual creation. He is the predominating deity of egoism, and by the will of Krishna and the power of the spiritual energy, he creates the spiritual world, which consists of the planet Goloka Vrindavan and the Vaikuntha planets. Now, question may arises in our heart. As Lord says that his internal potency is eternal, then he is abode, everything is eternal. If it is eternal, then where is the creation of this? Does it make sense? There is no beginning. Then how it is said here that he creates? To clarify that, Mahaprabhu says, Yadyapi asrishte nitya chit shakti vilas, tatapi sankarshana ichhaya tara prakash. It's very important. He says here, although there is no question of a creation as far as the spiritual world is concerned, the spiritual world is nonetheless manifested by the supreme will of Sankarshan. The spiritual world is the abode of pastimes of the eternal spiritual energy. That gets revealed to us by Sankarshan. And who is Sankarshan? He is Guru. He is Adi Guru. All the spiritual masters, they are represented by Sankarshan, because they are the one whom reveals us this eternal Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan. Even though it is there, but for us, they are not existing. But by the mercy of Sankarshan, Adi Guru, that gets revealed to us, that gets manifested in front of us. Even though it is eternal, but for us, it never exists, unless and until it gets revealed to us.
So it's created into the material world,
No.
which is temporary.
No. It's get revealed. Already it is there. Like Krishna Prema is there in your heart. But it's not revealed to you. And that's the job of spiritual master. He reveals that in your heart. It's already there, dormant, But I don't know how to recognize it, or how to identify that it is there. That's why Sankarshana is the predominating deity of egoism. He is the one who gives identity. We have lost our identity. That's why we are in the material world, actually. And Sankarshana is the one who gives you your identity. He reveals it to you. Even though it is there, but we don't know. Make sense?
That's his potency.
Yes.
That's his capacity to
Yeah.
reveal.
Yeah. Then Mahaprabhu quotes.
That's the potency of the Lord that can actually reveal the Lord to you. It's already there.
Yeah.
It needs to be unlocked, and that's Sankarshan's potency.
Yes. That's the role of spiritual master in our life. Spiritual master is not giving you something out of the world, you know. He's giving you the same thing which is there with you, but you have lost it. You have misidentified it. So he gives a proper identification. Then Mahaprabhu, he quotes it from Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text number 2. He says, Sahastapatram kamalam gokulakyam mahatpadam tatkarnikaram tadhama tad anantam shasambhavam. Gokula, the supreme abode of any planet, appears like a lotus flower that has 1,000 petals. The whirl of that lotus is the abode of Supreme Lord Krishna. This lotus-shaped supreme abode is created by the will of Lord Ananta. So that means actually it is created. Mayadware srijeteno brahmandera gana jadarupa prakriti nahe brahmanda karana. So now, as a modern scientist, they think that the whole creation has came from some big bang. Some chunk was there and there was a bang and everything got separated. Earth was hot like a iron ball and then it cooled down, then water manifested. Some speculation they have given. But here it is clearly says, Mayadware srijateho brahmandera gana. By the agency of the material energy, this same Lord Sankarshana creates all the universes. The dull material energy known in a modern language as a nature is not cause of this material universe. This material elements they can't create unless and until they are empowered by Lord Sankarshana. Unless and until there is a touch of a consciousness, matter can't form anything. Then further, Mahaprabhu says, Jada haite srishti nahe Ishwara Shakti vine, tahaite sankarshana kare shaktira adani. Without the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy, dull matter cannot create the cosmic manifestation. Its power does not arise the material energy itself, but is endowed by Sankarshana. ईश्वरेर शक्ति सृष्टि करये प्रकृति लौहा येन अग्नि शक्ते पायत दाह shakti. Dull matter alone cannot create anything. The material energy produced the creation by the power of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iron itself has no power to burn, but when iron is placed in fire, it empowered to burn. And then further, Mahaprabhu explains, he quotes it from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 46th chapter, text number 31. And he explains that how Lord Krishna and Balaram, they are the source of everything. Etau hi vishwasya cha bija yonim. They are the one who are the seed of material creation or creation. Ramo Mukunda Purusho Pradhanam Anviya Bhuteshu Vilakshanasya Jnanasya Chetasa Imau Pranamo. Balram and Krishna are the original, efficient, and material causes of the material world. As a Mahavishnu and the material energy, they enter into the material element and create diversities by multi-energies. Thus, they are the cause of all causes. And then he explains that Srishti Hetu, Yei Murti Prapancha Avatare, Sei Ishvara Murti Avatarana Avatare. The form of the Lord that descends into the material world to create is called avatar or incarnations. मायातीत परमयो में सबार अवस्थान विश्वे अवतारी धरे अवतार नाम. All the expansions of Lord Krishna are actually residents of the spiritual world. But when they descend into the material world, they are called incarnations. Sei Maya Avalokite Sri Sankarshana Purusha Rupe Avatirana Ha Ila Pratham. To glance over that material energy and empower her, Lord Sankarshana first incarnates as Lord Mahavishnu. Then again he quotes it from first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Chakruhe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahat Adibihi Sambhatam Shodashakalam Adau Loka Shirshakasya. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord expanded himself in the form of Purusha incarnation, accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. First, he created the 16 principal energies suitable for creation. This was for the purpose of manifesting material universe. And then, again, he quotes it from the second canto, 6th chapter, where the Sarga, the creation, has explained. आद्यो अवतार पुरुषाः परस्य कालाः संभवाः सद अंशान मनसः च द्रव्यं विकारो गुण इंद्रियाणि विराट स्वराट स्थानसु चर्ष्णु भूमनः. Karanabdishai Vishnu, that is Mahavishnu, is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of the eternal time, space, cause and effects. The mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the sense of universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving. So he's the source of everything. Amalgamation of each and everything of this universe is Lord Mahavishnu. Sei Purusha Virajate Karina Shaina Karanabdi Shahi Nama Jagata Karana. Why is called as a Karanabda Shahi? So Mahaprabhu explains here the original personality of a Godhead named Sankarshana first lies down in the river Viraja, which serves as a border between the material and spiritual world. As a Karanabda Shahi Vishnu, he is the original cause of material creation. So where he lies? He lies in the Viraja river, which is in between on the one bank of that river is material world and another bank is spiritual world. Karanabdi pare mayara nitya avasthiti virajara pare paramavyoma nahi gati. The Viraja, or a causal ocean, is the border between the spiritual and material world. The material energy is situated on one shore of that ocean and it cannot enter into the other shore, which is the spiritual sky. Then, again Mahaprabhu quotes it from the second canto, 9th chapter. Pravartare yatra rajas tamas tayoho satvam cha mishram na cha kalah vikramaha na yatra maya kim uta pare hare anu vrata yatra sura sura rachitaha. In this spiritual world, there is neither mode of a passion, the mode of ignorance, nor the mixture of both, nor is there adulterated goodness, the influence of time or Maya herself. Only the pure devotees of the Lord, who are worshipped both by demigods and by demons, reside in the spiritual world as the Lord's associate. So here, Shukdev Goswami is clearly explaining about the nature of the spiritual world, who is staying there? The devotees who are even worshipped by the demigods. And they are the eternal associates of the Lord. They reside there. And what sort of environment is there? The first thing, there is an absence of mode of ignorance and mode of passion. There is a goodness, but that goodness is not adulterated. It's pure Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness. And there is no question of a time and space. Time never exists, which is there in the material world. Because time means there is a beginning and there is an end. Between the span, that's called a time. But there is no end and there is no beginning. So where is time then? मायारी यही दुई वृत्ति माया आर प्रधान माया निमित्त हेतु विश्वेर उपादान प्रधान. Maya has two functions. One is called Maya and the other is called Pradhana. Maya refers to efficient cause and Pradhana refers to the ingredients that create the cosmic manifestation. So as Lord Sankarshana is the efficient cause of the material world. So same way of all spiritual and material world. So here also Maya has two parts again. One is Maya itself and second is Pradhan. Pradhan is like an ingredients and Maya is like a creative potency for that. The original personality of a Godhead named Sankarshana सेई पुरुष माया पाने करे अवधान प्रकृति क्षोभित करी करेर वीर्येर आदान. When the Supreme Personality of a Godhead glance over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semen of the living entities. So we will read this purport because this is how the living entity enters into the material world. That is explained here. Text number 272. 272. 270. सेई पुरुष मायार पाने करे अवधान प्रकृति क्षोभित करी करे वीर्यर आदान. When the Supreme Personality of a Godhead glances over the material energy, she becomes agitated. At that time, the Lord injects the original semen of the living entities. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 10, Krishna says, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. I am the original seed of all existence. This is also confirmed in other verses in Bhagavad Gita, like chapter 14, text number 4. Sarvayonisha kaunteya murtaya sambhavanti yaha tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradaha pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. For a further explanation, one may refer to Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, texts number 10 to 13. The Brahma Samhita also states in chapter 5, text number 51. Agnir mahir gagana ambu marutishashya kalastatatma manasiti jagatrayani yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. All material elements as well as the spiritual spark, individual souls, are emanating from the Supreme Personality of a Godhead. This is confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra. Janmadhyasya yataha. The absolute truth is He from whom everything emanates. He is the Supreme Truth, Satyam Paramadhimahi. The absolute ultimate truth is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadhyasya yato anvayad itarasya chatheshu abhijnaswarat. This absolute truth is a person who is directly and indirectly cognizant of the entire cosmic manifestation. Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse. The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, educated Lord Brahma from the heart. Tene Brahma Rada Ya Adikavaye. Therefore, the absolute truth cannot be dull matter. The absolute truth must be Supreme Person Himself. Sei Purusha Mayapane Kare Avadhana. Simply by his glance, material nature is impregnated with all living entities. According to their karma and fruitive activities, they emerge in different bodies. That is the explanation given in the Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehino yasmin yada dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatranamyate. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth or to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change. And then further he says, Swanga Vishesha Bhasha Rupe Prakriti Samsparshan Jiva Rupa Bija Tate Kaila Samarpan. To impregnate with the seeds of the living entities, the Lord Himself does not directly touch the material energy, but by His specific functional expansion, He touches the material energy, and thus the living entity, who are His parts and parcels, are impregnated into material nature. So, how to understand this? Prabhupada has given quite a lengthy purport on this to understand how this material nature gets impregnated by the Lord with all these living entities. So he quotes from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text number 7. Mamavasho jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakritisthani karashati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The word Prakriti, Samsparshan, is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in reference to the way the living entities come in contact with a dull matter. The glancing is performed by Mahavishnu. Sa akshayita lokanu sraja iti. Aitariya Upanishad says. How it happens? It happens like a, not like a, the in general intercourse of man and woman and then they impregnate someone. It never happens like that. Sa akshaya iti srijayati sa. That's what he said. That means he just glances upon material nature and she gets pregnant, impregnated. In the conditioned stage, we impregnate according to the bodily conception, that is, by sexual intercourse. But the Supreme Lord does not need sexual intercourse to impregnate. The impregnation is performed simply by his glance. This is also explained in Brahma Samhita. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti Pashanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti Ahananda chinmaya sadujjvala vigrahasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti. Sakala indriya vrittimanti. Vritti means what? Karya, the actions. Lord's different senses, they can perform different karya or actions. Through hands he can eat. By his glance he can impregnate. It's Lord. The word Swanga Vishesha Bhasha Rupe, indicating the form by which the Lord begets living entities in the material world, is explained herein. He is Lord Shiva. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that Lord Shiva, who is another form of Mahavishnu, is like yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, yet it is not milk. Similarly, Lord Shiva is considered the father of this universe, and material nature is considered the mother. The father and mother are known as Lord Shiva and Goddess Durga. Together, Lord Shiva's genitals and vagina of Goddess Durga are worshipped as the Shivalinga. This is the origin of the material creation. Thus, Lord Shiva's position is between that of the living entity and that of the Supreme Lord. In other words, Lord Shiva is neither the Supreme Personality of a Godhead nor a living entity. He is the form through which the Supreme Lord works to beget living entities within this material world. As a yogurt is prepared when milk is mixed with a culture, the form of Lord Shiva expands when the Supreme Personality of a Godhead is in touch with the material nature. The impregnation of a material nature by the Father, Lord Shiva, is wonderful because at one time innumerable living entities are conceived. Bhago jivasa vidneya sa chantataya kalpate, Shvetashara Upanishad. These living entities are very, very small. Then the size of living entity has explained here in Shvetashara Upanishad. केशाग्रशतभागस्य शतांशा सदृशात्मकः जीवा सूक्ष्मस्वरूपोऽयं संख्याकीतो हि चित्कनः. If we divide the tip of hair into 100 parts and then take one of these parts, and divide it again into 100 parts, that very fine division is size of but one of the numberless living entities. They are all chitkana, particle of spirit, not matter. So as explained in the Linga Puran, the whole creation has to explain from Lord Shiva. It's not wrong. That's the fact. Because Lord, in the form of Lord Shiva, he impregnates the mother nature. And then further, Prabhupada says here, the innumerable Brahmandas or universe come from the pores of the Lord's body. And innumerable living entities also come from the pores of the transcendental body of the Lord. This is the process of material creation. Without the living entities, this material nature has no value. Both emanate from the pores of the transcendental body of Lord Mahavishnu. They are different energies. The material nature is explained as follows by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, text number 4. Bhumiraponalo vayu khammano buddhirevacha ahankara ityanme bhna prakritirashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Thus, the material elements also come from the body of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. But they are different type of energy from the living entities. Although the living entities also come from the Lord's body, they are categorized as a superior energy. And that is explained in the next verse. Apareyam itastvanyam prakriti vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Beside this inferior nature, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior nature of mine, which comprises the living entity who are exploiting the resources of material, that is inferior energy of the Lord. Inferior energy, matter, cannot act without the superior energy. All these things are very clearly explained in the Vedas. The materialistic theory that life develops from the matter is incorrect. Life and matter comes from the supreme living entity. Therefore, being the source of both, the supreme living entity Krishna is described in the Vedanta Sutra as Janmadhyasya Yataha, all the original source of everything, Sarva Karana Karanam. This is further explained in the following verse. Then Mahaprabhu quotes from third canto, 26th chapter. Daivat kshubitaha dharminyam swasyam yono parakpuman adatta viryam sashuta mahattatvam hiranmayam. At a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into three qualities, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of the material nature. Thus, material nature gave birth to the total material energy known as Hiranmaya Mahattattva, the original symbolic representation of the cosmic manifestation. So this has explained by Kapila Muni to his mother Devahuti when he explains about the Sankhya Yoga, the analytical study of this material nature. Then further, Mahaprabhu quotes from the third canto, fifth chapter. Kalavritya tu mayamya gunamayamyadhokshajaha purushenatma bhutena viryam adhatta viryavan. In due course of time, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead, Mahavaikuntanath, by the agency of further expansion, his personal self, that is Mahavishnu, placed the seed of the living entity within the womb of material nature. So Srimad Bhagavatam itself at different places explains about how Lord impregnates this material world, the material nature, and everything that we see get manifested. तबे महत्त्व हैते त्रिविध अहंकार यहाँ हैते देवेंद्र दिया भूतेर प्रचार. First, the total material energy is manifested, and from this arise the three types of egoism, which are the original sources of which all demigods, the controlling deities, senses, and material elements expand. The Purport Prabhupada explains what is this uh, Trivida Ahankar. What are these three kinds of ahankaras or egoism? The three types of egoisms are technically known as Vaikarika, Taijasa, and Tamasa. The Mahat Tattva is situated within the heart or Chitta, and the predominating deity of Mahat Tattva is Lord Vasudeva, according to the third canto, 26th chapter, and text number 21. The Mahat Tattva is transformed into three divisions. One, Vaikarika egoism in goodness, that is Sattvic Ahankar, from which the 11th sense organ, the mind, is manifested, and whose predominating deity is Aniruddha. Then comes Tejasa or egoism in passion, that is Rajas Ahankar, from which the senses and intelligence are manifested, and whose predominating deity is Lord Pratyumna. And Tamasa or egoism in ignorance, from which sound vibration, the Shabda Tanmatra expands. From sound vibration, the sky, that is Akash, is manifested. And then the senses, beginning with the ear, are also manifested. Of these three types of egoism, Lord Sankarshana is the predominating deity. In the philosophical discussion known as the Sankhya Karika, it is stated Satvika Ekadashaha Pravartate Vaikarad Ahankara Bhutadesha Tanmatram Tasmad Taijasadya Ubhayam. So here, what are these three ahankaras that has explained nicely? So the first one is Satvik Ahankar. The predominating deity of that is Aniruddha, and what is created by that Ahankara is mind. So predominating deity of mind is Aniruddha. Then predominating deity of senses and intelligence is Pradyumna. And the predominating deity of egoism in ignorance, that is Tamas Ahankara, is Sankarshana is the predominating deity of whole Ahankara itself. And that is divided into three out there. So first is Aniruddha, second is Pradyumna, and third is ultimately Lord himself, Sankarshana. Then further he says, Sarva Tatra Mile Srije Brahmandera Gana, Ananta Brahmanda Tara Nahika Gana. Combine all the different elements, the Supreme Lord created all the universes. Those universes are unlimited in number. There is no possibility of counting them. Eno Mahat Srashtara Purusho Mahavishnu Nama Ananta Brahmanda Tara Loma Kupe Dhama. The first form of Lord Vishnu is called Mahavishnu. He is the original creator of total material energy. The innumerable universes emanate from the pores of his body. And then Lord says, Gavaksha Udiye Yache Renu Asya Yaya Purusha Nishvasa Saha Brahmanda Bahiraya Punarapi Nishvasa Saha Yaya Abhyantara Ananta Ishwarya Tara Shava Mayar Para. These universes are understood to be a floating in the air that Mahavishnu exerts. They are like atomic particles that float in the sunshine and pass through the holes of a screen. All these universes are thus created by the exhalation of Mahavishnu. And when Mahavishnu inhales, they re-enter his body. The unlimited opulences of Mahavishnu are completely beyond material conception. That's why this modern scientists, this thing that everything is mythology. Because you can't calculate all these things with your mundane senses, you know. How one can think that the whole universe has come from his Romakupa, from the bodily core of Mahavishnu. And how they look like? When we see the sunbeam coming through the window, and if there is the dust, we can see that dust particles. Can you count them? It's highly impossible. Like that, the material universes, they are coming out of Mahavishnu's body. So how huge he must be. Can you see him with these eyes? If it is too close, we can't see our own hand even. And if it is something too far, we can't see that also. If something is beyond 22° up there, you can't see normally, then you have to tilt your neck back or forth. So our senses are so imperfect, we can't get that perfect knowledge through this unless and until it gets revealed to us. And that's why in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam it is explained the way how you can get the knowledge. The Vedic knowledge can't be studied. Then it gets revealed in your heart. Tene Brahmarada Adikavaye. Adikavi. Huh? That is Brahma. In his heart, that knowledge got revealed. It's not that Brahma went to Gurukul and he learned all that Vedic knowledge. No. That got revealed in his heart. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that Tesham evanugambatam nashayami hamtama nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. I am the one who enlightens that knowledge in their heart, which destroys the darkness of ignorance. So the way of accepting this knowledge is through revelation. And that's why we accept Guru, you know. Just by reading books, you can't perfect your life. You can't understand the scriptures unless and until they are taught to you. Tattvavit, the person who knows the absolute truth, only he can make you understand that. Otherwise, forget. Nayamatma pravachena labhyo. You can't understand through by discourse alone. It need to get revealed. And how that revelation happens? Tesham satata yuktana. If you are constantly engaged in the endeavor of that, then Lord becomes merciful. Tesham evanu kampartam. He becomes merciful on them. And he reveals that knowledge in your heart. And that's why this so-called scientists, they don't understand how this creation has taken place. Then further, Mahaprabhu, he quotes again from Brahma Samhita. See, Mahaprabhu, who is Lord himself, he himself is quoting from different scriptures to put forward his points. So whenever you speak anything about scripture, you should not put your opinion. You should refer from the scriptures. So nothing is mental speculation. It is proved with the evidences given in the scriptures. So Mahaprabhu himself, the Lord himself, putting forward all the points with reference to the scriptures. That's why it is necessary to read scripture. You know? Otherwise, yathomat tatopat. The way you want, you can walk on that path and go to the hell. That's what's happening everywhere. They create their own path, their own system of process, they create their own scriptures, and they, with their followers, go to the hell. So better to be in the parampara and follow the parampara, because parampara always represents what has presented by the previous acharyas. They don't manipulate anything and create new. No. Like someone was, there's one later by Prabhupada too, I forgot that Mataji's name. She was diluting Prabhupada's books so that the small kids can understand that. Prabhupada said, just forget. These are not meant for them. Let them eat prasad and chant Hare Krishna. And come to that stage. Don't dilute philosophy so that they can understand. But feed them, let them take part in a kirtan, prepare their consciousness and bring them to the level where they can understand this. So what we can understand from this? Don't dilute philosophy for the sake of general people. It's not meant for general people. It's meant for specific people. That's why Lord says in Bhagavad Gita clearly, na tapaskaya, na madbhaktaya. If someone is not my devotee and he is not ready to perform austerities, don't give him that knowledge. It's not meant for them. Just feed them prasad. Ahara shuddha, sattva shuddha. Once they eat prasad, their existence will get purified and they will get prepared to enter into that realm where they can understand this knowledge. Make sense? Preachers should understand that, you know. Otherwise, for the sake of preaching, they do all sort of a nonsense, you know. They themselves go to hell and they take the other person to the hell also. So better to stick to the philosophy. And everything should not be disclosed to everyone. Because you need to come to that level to understand that knowledge. Like Prashant Ravar, right now if he start explaining the material science to me, He has that knowledge, but I'm not a right person whom he can deliver that knowledge. Yes, Pradyumna bro? I need to have some qualification, at least basic concept, so that I can understand what he's saying about. Till that time, give him what is suitable for him. And now again, Mahaprabhu, to just put forward his point, he is giving reference from Brahma Samhita. यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमथावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविरजा जगदण्डनाथः विष्णुर्महान् सह यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. The Brahmas and other lords of the mundane worlds appear from the pores of Mahavishnu and remain alive for the duration of his one exhalation. I adore that primeval Lord Govinda, of whom Mahavishnu is portion of a plenary portion. People they sing, I know God. Rascals, they don't know the expansion of the Lord, from whose exhalation the whole material manifestation happens. They can't understand that and they claim that they have they have understood the Lord. And who is Mahavishnu? He is one of the incarnations of the Lord just to create this material world. See, Mahaprabhu is very in detail, he is explaining about these avatars. So we should not confuse that Krishna is avatar. He is not avatar, he is avatari. He is the source of all incarnations. Just to clarify that thing, Mahaprabhu is explaining the whole discourse on expansions, different incarnations, avatars of the Lord, to make us understand that he is the source of the avatars. He is the supreme personality of the Godhead. He is the fountainhead of all the incarnation. See, there is a Paribhasha Sutra. Means the whole thesis is explained about this particular. And Paribhasha Sutra of whole Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Whole Bhagavatam has written down by Vedavyasa to just prove one point, and that is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original supreme personality of the Godhead. That's the Paribhasha Sutra of Srimad Bhagavatam. We need to fix that thing in our mind. All the stories, all the narrations, all the prayers, everything has explained to prove Krishnastu Bhagavan. So we'll stop it here today and we'll continue from the descriptions of other avatars that has been explained by Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami from our next session. I won't be here, but I will continue it online next time, next Friday.
You'll be out of town.
Yeah, I'll be out of town for a week. So we'll start it from 282, text number. That is Madhya Leela 282. Madhya Leela 20, chapter 282. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Sanatana Goswami Pad ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.